the commission meeting to order. First on the order is Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Okay, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so the first thing is the written protest against the street project. Did I bring those here? So certified as to the insufficiency of protest on proposed improved benefiting Washburn Street Improvement District number 2022-1, the undersigned auditor of the city of Washburn, North Dakota certifies that there have not been sufficient written protests filed to our proceeding with the improvement proposed to be made benefiting Washburn Street Improvement District 2022-1 within the of the city within 30 days after the first publication of the official newspaper of the resolution of proposed improvement benefiting Washburn Street Improvement District number 20-1, therefore, or at any other time. Date is 14th day of November 2022, and that's signed by Chelsea Brandt. Okay, I know a lot of you have concerns about this. So, I guess first of all, I'd like to start out that according to Century Code, it has to be a written protest, you know, in order to be valid, okay? But we are concerned about what everybody's feelings are also. So just real quickly, you know, that area of town is in very tough shape. It's, the road's probably been there 40 plus years. There is no base under that road. You know, it probably should have been done years ago, but I mean, there's been a lot of other projects going on since then. The city, we determined that that's probably the worst area in town. That's why we picked it at this time. We did send letters to the residents in that area where the work is going to be done, you know, estimating what we thought it might cost the residents. Whether that's the correct number or not, we don't know, but at least we estimated, because that was always one of the biggest complaints we had, was people want to know, what can I expect in costs? Okay, so that's why, you know, we had sent the letter out. The thing is, if we don't do it now, you know, when are we going to do it? That's the problem. I know a lot of people say, well, you know, the economy's not good. But when are you going to do it? You're going to wait, you know, several years when it's even more money? And then also, if we don't do it now, you kind of get moved to the back of the list. You know, we figured this was the worst area of town, that's why we picked this area. So, I mean, and I realize, you know, some of you are here against it, some of you want it. But I think we want to give, you know, people a chance to at least, you know, take a couple of minutes. We don't want it to drag out for an hour. But, you know, if you've got concerns, I guess we would like to hear them. And if anybody wants to talk, I want you to please state your name and what your physical address is. And then, you know, maybe a minute or so comment, and then move on to the next person. So is there anybody that would like to start?
Yeah, I would, my name is Daryl Savage, I'm at 1022 Jennifer Drive.
Okay.
There's this here prairie dog, funding or something like this here. Do you know about that?
I do, and we have, I should have mentioned that, but thank you for bringing that up. We have the prairie dog funding to buy down some projects. We also have sales and use tax money that we plan on using to buy down part of this project. You know, it's to try and get it as affordable as we can for the citizens. You know, that's always been the plan from day one to do that.
I know, Hazen has got like $1 million, this is a couple of years ago, and, the way I understand, you have to do a street project or something like this here, sewer.
I believe the prairie dog is an infrastructure project, right?
So are we eligible for that, or?
Yeah.
In Washburn?
Yes. We have, I think, I think 129,000 from them or something like that. And we have looked at possibly using that plus, you know, sales and use tax money, because that's what we've done with all of our special assessments for the last probably 4 or 5 assessments. We've taken, you know, whatever, like sales and use tax money or different funding that we can to buy down the project, yeah, that's our intention.
Larry, can I interrupt you?
Yes.
Can you speak up just a little bit louder so the people out in the hall can hear you?
Oh, okay, sorry,
You're good.
yeah.
Never heard that before.
Can you hear me out there?
Can we get him in?
Does anybody wanna come in?
You can come stand on.
You come in.
There's one here.
Yeah, come on in, guys. Where?
I don't know, anywhere.
Can I come closer to you?
Absolutely. Come on around. Thanks for, you know, Don.
Hi, you back there, Judy? Okay, who's next?
Said Don Wood.
Oh, okay.
Anyone?
Yeah.
Steve?
Steve Richards, 986 Kelly, just wondering what the scope of it, I mean, you talked about not having a base,
Speak up just a little bit.
Would you be excavating, excavating and putting a base in there so it's better road than what we have now? You know, what all are you looking at doing?
Exactly. What it would be, projected is, well, basically, there's no base under that road. It's, you know, basically put on dirt. So we would be milling off the asphalt, redoing the base, whatever needed to be done. We would be fixing the storm sewer that runs through there. We'd be fixing the curb and gutter. And then we would be putting a base down and then, you know, installing new asphalt.
So going from North Gate over to like where Trespass is that road gonna be done too? That, gravel road? Dirt road there, you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Behind Court.
Yeah, behind.
No, that's not in the area. No, the area is from North
So
Gate.
that isn't part of,
west. That's not
part of the
it.
project or anything like that?
No,
Okay.
it's not, no.
So when you start working on it.
Name and where you live.
Gary Field, 1028 Linden Lane.
Okay.
Hey, we're on a dead-end street on Linden Lane. So once you start working on this, is this gonna be all summer? How are you gonna get in and out of there?
They have to have people, they have to make it accessible when they work on it, right? Like any other project, you know. You might, maybe for a week or two, you might have to walk a little bit, but, you know,
Yeah, you know,
there's
anything that-
access. Because we have to make sure that there's fire and ambulance, you know, accessibility too, so. The nice thing about this project is we don't have to do water and sewer, which saves a bunch of money. Because water and sewer is bore by the people that benefit from it, not, you know, and this project here, you know, whoever it touches pays half and the rest of town pays the other half, which is what we've been doing for the last quite a few years, so.
I have a question. Angie Renner Fox. I live down by the city barn, 1113 First Avenue.
Okay.
I live on a gravel road in town, just saying. So, it's kind of, to spend that much money on a road up there, is, for such a small town, I'm kind of surprised, I guess. And have you gotten bids from different contractors?
Well, not yet, no. 'Cause
You are going to, though.
Oh,
You can
absolutely,
publish those
yeah.
So we can all see how that.
Oh, absolutely, and then if the bids are outrageous, I mean, they'll be thrown out, so.
And will we get some kind of heads up, like, it doesn't affect me directly, obviously, since we're kind of on a different road down where we're at, our taxes, how will that affect everybody proportionally?
That would be up to the special assessment committee, and which they have done in the past. This actually is about the protest for this, not about, you know, what am I gonna pay down the road, but, I mean, it's a protest for basically up there, but I get what you're saying, that's fine,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but that's up to the
To
committee.
know all the facts,
Yes.
I guess, to know how it's gonna go.
Anything else, anybody else?
Hi, Sandy Shell, we live at 1209 Linden Lane.
Yes,
So, Larry, according to the letter you sent out, it's approximately $20,000 per lot.
right,
So if you own 3 lots, it's $60,000 for specials.
possibly.
That's ridiculous. How do you think anybody's gonna afford that?
Do you own 3 lots?
Yep.
You do, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, yeah, I do.
How many years is that base over?
20,
So there's interest on that too, of course, right?
Unless you would pay it off right away, there would be interest.
So how much would that,
Yes.
you're talking, you know, probably at least $5,000 to $8,000 a year on top of what your taxes are already.
Oh, I'm thinking it would probably be 3 lots, you'd probably, just guesstimating, if you do it for 20 years, you'd probably be 3,600 maybe,
Oh,
guessing.
no. It'd be
No.
more than that.
More than that.
Yeah.
Interest rate stuff, you ain't gonna get a cheap loan or more.
Well, like I said, we'd have to see what everything comes
So
in at,
you
you
have,
know,
our
so.
taxes are 4,000 right now, so you add another 4, that's
Yeah.
8,000 a year
Yeah,
for 20 years.
I know, I hear you.
I have a question too. Amber Vogel, 1127 Chestnut Drive.
Okay.
So if it's, $20,000 per lot, we have 5 lots behind us without street access, so we have a total of 7 lots. That's $140,000.
And only one of the lots has sewer access, everything else is well below street grade. And,
Well, are these coulee lots, or what are they?
yeah, and we're 85 by 125 that our home is on. So
Okay.
there are other lots in town, one lot that's probably 4 times as large as ours, so, you know.
Yeah, they're not proportionately, you know, in
Yeah,
that area,
there's-
so some people are gonna get hit a lot harder than
But
others.
once again, it's up to the special assessment committee to decide how they're gonna do that.
Yeah.
Like I said, the biggest thing is people wanted to know what it might cost, and that was the reason of the letter.
And if there's no water or sewer access to it.
I'm really thinking that if there is a lot that is not buildable on, or in a coulee, that will be looked at. You know, I can't say how it's gonna be looked at, because I don't know, because I'm not on the assessment committee.
And
but-
we, you know, our home is high and dry, but
Mhm.
my lot that's right to the east of me, all the silt, all this construction material, if it's not controlled, I'm gonna have a lot of sediment in that area.
They're required to control that.
So there'll be,
Yeah.
if there is a, you know, a 1-inch rain event, and, you know, I spent a lot of time cleaning up
Yeah.
already, just from sand from the roads.
Right.
And I've, you know, I've kinda made my own
Yeah, we would make them clean
problems
it up,
there, but
yeah.
I could see it being well beyond anything I could, you know, clean up myself. or
Well, it's up to the
manage.
contractor to make sure that, you know, he does it properly and cleanly, so. Yeah, and like I said, you know, the bottom of coulee obviously is not a buildable lot, you
No,
know,
certainly.
so, and I'm sure they'll take that into effect, or into account, excuse me.
They have 3 lots, like between Myron and Lori Cullen and the back of their house.
Oh,
there,
yeah.
So it's way back up in there.
Yeah, so they're really nothing.
If I'm
There's
right.
5 of them back there.
Right,
Yeah.
it's in between Lori and Myron's and up there. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's gonna be per lot
Name?
and not per foot, like
I don't know,
before?
I don't know, you should say your name and where you live, sorry.
Elaine Carr, 1107 Missouri Avenue.
Okay. That we have it on record who's talking. So, that's up to the special assessment committee. Like I said, this was a guesstimate of what it might be, because that was the biggest complaint people always have, what's it gonna cost? You know, so we were guesstimating. We don't know.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
Ryan Nayman, 1024 North Gate Road.
Okay.
Where did you come up with the estimate?
That was an engineer's estimate.
From Washburn or from a contractor?
From our engineering, firm,
Do you
A2S.
have any of those estimates available to show us?
Not right now, I don't, but you can stop in at the office and see them during, you know, regular hours, yeah.
Neil Cattermas, 1216 Linden Lane. Are there any items that maybe we could not do to reduce the cost? Like, I would look at my house and on the street, I'm like, I would assume my curb and gutter is fine.
Well,
But I don't know what that means as far as any construction at the base underneath, things like that.
the
but-
curb and gutter would only be fixed if it's bad, like if, you know, it's holding water, there's a dip, you know, and stuff, and there's quite a bit of that up there. But yeah, if the curb's good, we're not gonna touch that, you know, but you know, the storm drains through there, those are like way down, you know, those need to be fixed, and, anybody else? Yes?
Rudy Zeman, 1000 River Street. Are you gonna let us know when the special assessment, people meet, or so we can find out how they plan to assess everybody's
Oh, absolutely, I mean, that, you know, that gets, you know, that's further down the road,
Right.
you know, and you know that. And that's, you know, after the project's done, basically. And yeah, you know, it gets put in the paper, and I think, I'm not sure if we send those out, do we send those out? I can't remember.
No, it's in the paper.
It's in the paper, it gets printed in the paper.
There's a meeting then.
And then we have a meeting to protest those, yeah. Yeah, yes,
Yeah, Wayne Herringer, 1027 Linden Lane. Is this gonna include Northgate Road?
no,
Just on the river side of it then? That, or whatever you call that direction?
right. If it's the roads, I'll
Okay.
say west of Northgate Road.
Yeah, right. And, honestly, I'm just curious, the cost, somebody alluded to it here, do you think people can afford this kind of price tag, you know, so I guess I'm getting, that's another point. And then, as citizens, is there any way we can stop the project?
Well, that was the whole idea of, you know, putting it in the paper, and then, you know, you had 30 days, and it was said right in the paper, you have 30 days from the date it first published to do a written protest. We have gotten zero.
Hey, Larry, so does your letter say that we should come to this meeting tonight if we wish to protest the special assessment project?
Okay, I didn't write that letter, but,
Okay, so what are we supposed to do? I mean, it said to come here, this
Well-
is why we're all here.
well, I don't know, but a lot of people called and said, you know, hey, what do we do? And we said, write a letter of protest, and
No,
we never
I
did.
called the day I got that letter, and I was told to come to this meeting.
Who did you talk to?
And if you don't get the
I don't
paper,
know.
what are you
Yeah,
supposed
no,
to do?
I'm
Well, it's the official paper of the city, I mean.
Yeah, okay, so if I don't go buy paper and I don't get the paper, and I get this letter that tells me to come to this meeting,
Okay, well, that's why we're here talking, I mean, you know.
yeah, but you just
I
said
mean,
we can't
the-
protest
the-
it anymore,
the-
we can't stop it.
I said it's a written protest. I didn't say you can't protest, you know, that's why we're listening to you, we wanna hear your thoughts. The thing is, you know, it's not my fault you don't get the paper, okay? It is the official city newspaper, we go by state century code.
It's 2022, most people use social media or some sort of electronic
Email.
device to,
Okay, we're not gonna have everybody talk at
follow up
once,
on
so
those.
you have to state your name and if you wanna talk, so. Anybody else?
Amber Vogel, 1127 Chestnut Drive. I would assume that if you send out a letter, I didn't even look to read what was in the paper, because I would assume the residents who were most affected receiving the letter would have the most detailed information, so. I did, I
Okay.
called, and that's the info I got, so
Okay.
here we are.
You know, we had requests from people in that area that, hey, we want our road fixed. You know, the thing is, what do you wanna do? You wanna wait, and then when it costs twice as much? You know, it also devalues your house having a road that is in really bad disrepair. It devalues your property.
But $140,000 in assessment.
That devalues.
I don't think you're gonna get $140,000.
There's no way you're gonna sell
For,
it.
even at a $40,000 special assessment, you're looking at devaluing your home.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's 60, 40, or 20, you're still devaluing your home.
When we built our house, we built it for $120,000, now you're asking for $60,000 for half of what it cost our house.
I said it was an estimate.
And we lived there for 27 years,
It was an estimate.
and not one thing has been done to the road. So, you know, okay, we're gonna spend $60,000 on specials and nothing will ever get done with them afterwards? You've never maintained them, you put a little bit of, asphalt or like tar on them and that's it. Otherwise, nothing's ever been done to them.
So what's your suggestion? Just leave them the way they are and let them just completely
No,
fall
I'm
apart?
not saying that, but now it's $60,000 for specials.
Like I said, I don't know that that's what you're gonna get. I said it's a guess, that's all
It
it
could
is.
be more,
It could be less,
it could be more, then we're pretty much in trouble.
yeah?
Now, if you're talking, that's half, you're talking $40,000 a lot is what this is gonna cost, that's a lot.
Who said $40,000
Well,
a
if
lot?
you're saying half, you're saying we're gonna pay half at 20. So it's, if you're gonna charge the city another 20, that's $40,000 a lot, it's costing to do these roads. Is that correct?
That's what stuff costs, I mean, what are you gonna do? Okay,
Darrell Kinschisky, 1138.
since that base wasn't installed correctly the first time, why should we bear that cost?
Who's gonna do it? Who's gonna bear the cost?
The city should, as a whole.
But that's,
It's not-
we
it's not our
get
fault that
money
base
from the
wasn't-
taxpayer though.
It's not our fault that base wasn't put in properly the first time around.
Well, basically, the city is bearing the cost, because you and everybody in town is bearing the cost. That is the city.
Not the whole cost, we're bearing the most of it.
But that's the way it's worked in other areas of town too. They paid half and the rest of the town paid the other half.
Did you do bases in every other part too?
Some of it, yeah.
But not all of them.
We did what was needed to be done.
Right.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that if it was installed incorrectly the first time around, why should we bear that cost?
Well, that's, unfortunately, that's the way special assessments work. You know, I mean, that's just the way they work. I mean,
What other town doesn't have special assessments for streets? You know, I mean, that's how streets are paid for.
yeah.
And I remember, the first time it hit me was 1997 on Main Street here, and yeah, I was in shock. But I paid half, and the rest of the community paid half. That's the way Main Street was done. And the interesting thing about that is that we weren't given any notice up front. It just, they did the street, they assessed it, and they sent it to us. It wasn't until later on that they actually sent out letters, like the city does now, to give some kind of a estimate of what's going on. It'd be interesting to know how many people, you know, want the street fixed up there. I mean, you know, the cost might come in really high, to where the fact we just throw the whole project out. I was just at a meeting with Larry where they gave an example of I might have my figures off here, and Eric could probably help me, our engineer, of a project that was bid at estimated at 7.2 million, and it came in at 45 million, so they threw it out the window, because it's unbelievable. This thing might get thrown totally out the window, because it might be 3 times as much of what we think it's gonna be, and that's not gonna be affordable to anybody. And as far as repairing the streets, no tar went down, because there is no tar. We couldn't get any tar this year. So there's all kinds of factors coming in, but, I mean, the streets, you know, I've driven through there several times. Some people say they want them fixed, some say they don't want them fixed. It's gotta, either that or we move on to another part of town that's waiting for us to do. There's no easy answer to it, because in my lifetime, the only way streets have been done is because of specials. You know, I've paid specials most of my life in this town, because there's always a project or somebody getting a street. I've had streets in front of my house, I've had streets in front of my business when I had it. Paid specials on it, I don't know any other way around it, so.
Well, there's anybody here that hasn't paid specials, it's just.
Right.
We need to look at all costs and all alternatives.
Right, and that's, like I said, it used to be at one time that there was more than 50% that was put on the property owners, and then that was slacked back. I think that started in '97, where it was slacked back because it was Main Street that they went 50%, and it stayed pretty close to that all the time. And then not too many years ago, for instance, using Bismarck for an example, nobody would buy a corner lot because they got socked twice. So I mean, there's all kinds of different formulas, all kinds of other things. The streets could be left, they're just gonna get worse. I don't know what we'll do with them. I mean, they're not gonna get better, and it isn't gonna be any cheaper next year.
Well, I know this was talked about 4 or 5 years ago, in that area up there, and at that time, they were scared of the cost. Look where we're at now.
Right.
There's gotta be some other grants or something, isn't there? Any other options? Does anybody on the city commission, look for grants? From the infrastructure?
Chelsea does.
There's gotta be something. You hear of all these other small towns that get
There's
millions of dollars.
There's
and
a
we're
big
sitting with
difference between, there's a
100,000.
big difference between, you know, the income base of a town.
Right.
You know, if you have a town where the income is really, the average is really small, they qualify for more grants. But around Washburn here, we have a higher, income structure, and so we don't qualify for a whole lot of that stuff.
And a lot of those grants are for water and sewer versus asphalt. And like Larry said, like for instance, the school has very few students on free and reduced lunch because it's figured on the average median wage of Washburn, which is very high. And that's how those grants are taken into consideration many times. you know, because we have good paying jobs from the coal industry and that. So that pushes us much more out of the picture than a very rural area or one that isn't affected by higher.
And like I said, we're looking at, you know, the monies we get, you know, the Prairie Dog Fund, the sales and use tax, we're looking at buying down as much as we can, you know, so, but, you know, until you actually have actual real figures, it's hard to even, you know, promise, hey, we're gonna bring down this much, we don't know yet, you know. Yes?
Does the city of Washburn get any tax money from the gas taxes, the sales of gas in this town?
We get, yeah, we get money from the highway fund. What that goes for is that's part of our operating budget. You know, it's put into our annual budget for, you know, like repairs, you know, to buy oil, you know, and that, and then also like buy tar in the streets, it goes for some of that. So, yeah, a lot of that stuff we get from the state goes into our operating budget, so we can, you know, try and keep our mill levy low as we can.
I understand what she's saying too about not having a whole lot of street repairs. I mean, I've lived on Linden Lane for 10 years. 1 year they came by and cracked and sealed cracks. I think there's a lot of concern. She's saying we're gonna spend this much money and then all of a sudden, what's gonna happen? I mean, are we gonna continuously be repairing it? I mean, like you're saying, you couldn't find tar this year.
That was just this year, yeah.
Yeah, but what happened the other years?
Well,
I mean, it's been a mess.
for years, we've had this emulsion tar that comes in these barrels, you know, and very expensive stuff. And I think we get like, I don't know, 35, 40 barrels a year. Well, they don't go that far, you know, and we try and get different areas every year. Now we're trying to go with real tar, which is way, way cheaper, and it just does a much better job. You know,
Yeah, we're trying to do a deal with the county where we can buy, you know, their bulk tar. We got a tar wagon, now we use tar wagon, cause it's much more economical. So we got all set up and then there's no tar. So that's why there was nothing done this year.
Anybody else?
How many people are on the planning and zoning committee?
That has to be appointed yet, so, right?
Special assessment.
Special assessment?
Special assessment.
That, there would be 5,
Five, okay.
Who's on there now?
nobody.
Nobody's on.
We haven't done a special assessment. I think they're on for 6 years, and we haven't had a special assessment in 6 years. So there would be a new,
The
So
la-
they-
the
they
years
only do
before,
3.
there's only been
huh, was it for you?
Is it 3 or 5 on that?
three members.
Is it 3? Oh, I'm bad. 3, sorry. Okay,
Yeah,
3 for, okay,
3 for 5 years.
okay, my bad.
Did we be notified like you did this last time now, for this meeting, for when they have that special assessment?
It gets all printed in the paper, and
Yeah,
it'll be
but I mean,
discussed
you
at meetings.
could send us a letter, all the people that are involved, like we just got,
Well, we would be sending everybody in town a letter.
but you didn't do that now.
Well, but that's why it's printed in the paper,
Yeah.
on the special assessment.
But I mean, I got my letter that, you know, to show up for, if I wanted.
Because you were actually on the project
Right.
area, that's why.
Who determines who's on that committee?
The city commission will appoint people.
These guys say
So,
who's
yes,
on,
these
who's
guys
on the.
Determine who's on that commission.
There'll probably be a notice, Ashley, in the paper.
Yeah.
Now, I know that, you know, okay, it's in the paper, by state statute, I realize that maybe that might be archaic because of social media and everything else, but we don't have choice, it's by state statute, am I right, David? That it has to be in the official newspaper of the city.
Oh, no, I understand that,
Yeah,
I
so
was just
that-
asking who appoints the 3 people to that committee?
The
It would
state.
be you guys.
Right,
We would ask for people that are interested in being
Yeah.
on it.
yeah.
I
And this-
think, Rochelle, 1106 Karen Lane, I think that's a little bit frustrating because all of your answers resort back to the committee, and then we're yet like, who's on the committee? Nobody. Who appoints them? Oh, well, we do. But it'll be one of you,
No,
right?
We won't be on the committee.
we won't be on the committee.
No. no.
So someone outside, like no wives or like, you know, business partners or like people, like we wanna make sure they're real deal people within the community.
No.
You know.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, all right. So at that, we will, close the, public hearing for the, street improvement. Yeah. So. Thanks, guys. Yes, thank you.
Thanks for coming. Thanks, Steve.
So.
Appreciate the input.
So next, we have the resolution, since there is no written protest to oppose this, so next we'll,
That drain repair you got, that is $991 Chelsea.
No. All right.
I hope yours.
Anyway, Judy, we're busy guys. So, sorry. So the next is the resolution determining protest insufficient for street improvement district 2022-1. Okay, be it resolved by the governing body of the city of Washburn, North Dakota, the city as follows. The governing body having met at the Washburn City Hall in Washburn, North Dakota on November 14th, 2022 at 6:30 PM to hear and determine the sufficiency.
Hey, Larry, maybe you should call the meeting to order.
All right, everybody, if you're gonna speak, please. Thank you. Thank you, Tim. Okay, written test, if any, filed with the city auditor protesting against the adoption of a resolution declaring the necessity of the improvement in and for the street improvement district number 2022-1, the district of the city is hereby found to determine that written protests have not been filed containing the names of the owners of the majority of the area of the district, and that accordingly, there has not been sufficient written protests filed to bar proceeding with the improvement in and for the district of any portion thereof. Okay, this governing body is authorized to cause the improvement in and for the district to be made and financed to contract or otherwise provide in accordance with Title 40 North Dakota Century Code for the construction thereof and acquisition of the property required in connection therewith, and to levy and collect special assessments and taxes therefore. So we need a motion to approve that.
So move. Second.
Discussion. Tim?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Thank you, David.
I moved. And Pete seconded.
All right.
Sit down, we're not done.
I'm done.
Okay, now we need to approve the October 10th minutes. There is a correction. And that is,
It's on the fifth one down.
yeah, Simon motion to approve September 26, 2022 special commission meeting minutes. The correction is Dr. seconded, and all members present voted A. Motion carried. So with that, a correction, do we have a motion to accept the October 10th minutes as corrected?
Yep, I would move to accept those
I'll
minutes.
second it. Any discussion on the minutes? Tim?
Yep, yes,
Yes. Okay, yes, aye. October financials, everybody have a chance to review those?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we need a motion?
I motion to accept October financials.
I'll second it.
Yes.
Discussion, okay, Tim?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Airport board appointments. So we have two people, Benjamin Govan and Donald Robinson. Are either of those two people here?
Ben Goldman.
Okay. Come on up for a minute, please. So why would you like to be on the board?
Well, there's an opening and my dad hadn't had that spot and he decided to resign. And so I'd like to take his spot. I've been around the Washburn Airport for just about 20 years. My dad is kept the plane there. I run a crop dusting business, so I understand the airport's pretty good. I know a lot of people with airplanes and whatnot, so I understand airports, and I can be a good fit for this spot.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Benjamin? Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Ben.
So the other one is, Donald Robinson. It says, "My name is Donald Robinson. I'm interested in serving on the Airport Authority Board. I have been a pilot since 2002 and am currently building a hangar at the Washburn Airport. I now have a vested interest in the Washburn Airport and would like to serve on the board."
If you'd like to add anything, I think he's there. Are you Donald Robinson?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought he raised his hand earlier.
No.
Gotcha, okay.
So there's one vacancy open.
So, I would move that we would appoint Donald Robinson.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I'd second it, so.
Okay, discussion? No discussion, Tim?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. All right, then maybe next time when there's no.
Yeah, there's some more openings there, so thank you.
Some more coming up.
Thanks, Ben.
Dollars for Scholars, local permit. Basically the same as every other year. I will move to approve the permit for Dollars for Scholars.
Second.
Who seconded? Don?
Don.
Don
I got it
seconded.
first, yeah.
Discussion, Tim?
Yes.
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 Yes. Washburn Sports Boosters, same as every other year, okay, except they have, okay, the dates there are, they had the dates for the Dollars per Scholar ones listed on there just in case. So, but theirs are just the December 15, 17, 20, 29, dates, so, same thing I've done before. I motion we, approve the Sports Boosters raffle.
Second. I don't know.
Coming in fast here.
It's an auction. Give it to Keith.
Okay.
He can pay for it.
Discussion, Tim?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes. That was quick. Jenny Weber? There you are. I didn't even see you there in the crowd.
I'm just coming, we have a question on snow removal at our business on
We can share.
9th and Main. And I just wanted to make sure we were doing things right. I guess my first question is, what's the, I couldn't find it in the ordinance, and Erica had sent me a couple too. What's the ordinance as far as property owners or residents being able to put snow on their boulevard? I know the boulevards are city, my understanding is they're city, they're taken care of by the property owner. But I couldn't read in the ordinance where there was an issue with putting it on your boulevard, but I wanted to make sure we were doing things correctly. So the concern is that if you look on the map, basically you can see this area on 9th Street that you actually can see the white line is basically driveway and parking. And then also on Main Avenue, there's that boulevard right there as well, the grassy part. The parking lot, not an issue. We're able to move snow there. But the concern is that when the streets are cleaned, there's quite a bit of snow that gets pushed back. And we're just wanting to make sure that we can push that snow and pile it on our boulevard.
Say that again? You wanna pile it on Main Street side instead of on 9th Street side?
Yep, just for the driveway, Don, so this, basically where you see that white line on the, yep. So basically, when they come and clear, just like everybody has it on their driveway, we get that right here. And to be able to just push this, and then we would pile it there. We've done that in the past, but I just wanna make sure that we're in compliance.
So depending on amount of snow, like this time, there was a lot of snow on Main Street, so they brought it to the, just talking about out front, they brought it to the middle.
Yep.
Sometimes does Adam move it to the outside too? 'Cause I
On
don't-
that side of the street, yeah,
On that side, yeah.
yeah. I mean, obviously, we can't on this side because of the fire department and everything else.
Right.
Yep.
You know?
Cause
I
that's where I
guess-
was trying to sorry, Tim, I was just trying to find in the ordinance where boulevards were excluded, I guess is what I'm trying to figure out. Cause there's been so many different
Right.
opinions.
I guess my only concern here, Ginny, is that if the Main Street, you know, this time it all went to the middle, but if Main Street goes this way and you've got all this here, you're not gonna have enough room on your boulevard in the wintertime.
Mhm.
Cause I'm sure you don't wanna pile it higher than the base of your building, or it's gonna run inside.
Right, and and in that case, we would end up hauling it out. And we haven't had to do that up to this point. I guess I'm asking, is it lawful for us to put it there? I mean, I know it talks about residents are required to, and businesses are required to pile or blow snow on their own property. But how does that work with boulevards?
Well, the thing is, basically, you're taking from one street and putting it on another, is what you're doing. That's the way I see it anyway.
Are boulevards parts of the street? Like,
Yeah, obviously they are.
well, no, I mean, for like the property, like that city property thing?
Boulevards are city property.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
The thing is, you're talking about taking like a whole half a block and putting it in a little spot about, you know,
Historically,
maybe a quarter.
in the last 13 years of doing this, same way, that sun hits it, shrinks, it goes down a little bit. I mean, and you're able to kind of keep going. Yes, occasionally there's times that a guy takes some out of there, but instead of hauling the snow every single time, basically the parking lot gets pushed up, along the property line, but then basically since that's city snow, it comes off Ninth, and then that's a parking boulevard where people park. The problem is if you push it up by the dumpster, that all melts, and it's an ice skating rink all the way down. So people coming in, I mean, employees, it's a hazard.
What about in the lot though, in the back?
Again, you put that much snow up there as well, it all runs down into that same spot, and so it's, basically, we're splitting it. I mean, we're gonna have some runoff from the parking lot, but, basically, it's best down here, because then when it melts, it goes out that gutter and head down into the coulee here, and it's gone.
So what are you asking for, Jenny, then?
well, I was asking for clarification and permission, because if it is city-owned, then according to the ordinance, I need to request permission to put the snow there.
Basically, what you're asking is to take snow from one street and putting it on another, is what you're asking.
From one boulevard, yep, from the one boulevard, from the driveway boulevard, and putting it on the grass
Now,
boulevard.
normal snowstorms, we wouldn't have that much snow in relationship, except for this last one, where we got tons of snow, we got no place to put it.
Yep.
So,
Well, we don't know that. I mean, it could happen anytime.
well,
And
yeah,
again-
I'm not questioning that, but I'm
And
just saying.
again, like we've talked about, you know, if the sun does hit it, we have had to haul it out maybe once, twice,
Not very often.
very, very rarely, but we would also be responsible, because it is our building, it's, you know, what happens to the building, it affects us, so we would be responsible for, when it gets to be too much, hauling that out.
Well, I do know the city has hauled that out before, years past, you know, because it's gotten so full.
You mean when it was the ambulance bay? Probably.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Well, I mean, wherever, yeah.
And they did it for us too a couple times.
Yeah.
But we're just looking to keep operating like we were the last
12 years.
12 years or so.
Right. Well, the thing is, we changed the ordinance, you know, because it got to be such a mess, you know. Everybody was coming in and make a big mess, and that's why the ordinance changed. And we're just trying, you know, like I said, the ordinance was written to be, you know, to be more fair to everybody, you know, and it was, you know, done in March, of this year, so.
Right, no, and we have no problems with the ordinance. Well, I mean, I guess the one thing I do say then is that maybe if we're going to abide by that, and the city's decision, then we do need to, I mean, there's a lot of, you know, I know that I've moved snow from my sidewalk, and people have cleared snow from the side of the streets to make room for, you know, for mailboxes, and that goes on the boulevards, I should say. So I just, like I say, how,
What's the difference?
yeah, that's what we're wondering is, again, maybe the ordinance does need to say something about the boulevards then.
Well, I think the difference is, you're talking about people going down the side, going down and widening the street and blowing it on the boulevard. But you're taking snow from a half a block away and coming all, you know, this is 125 feet. It's what these blocks are, so you're going a little more than 125 feet and packing it into this little area here versus someone just opening up their driveway and moving it onto a, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So there's a lot of snow that.
So does it really make any difference if, they're moving snow from 125 feet, or if somebody's blowing to make the street wider? Is there any difference in that?
Yeah, because are you talking about like when they go down the street with the skid steer, and where it's bladed up, and they just cut off a 3-foot path, and they're just moving it over 4 feet and making the street wide enough for the mailman to get in? Is that what you're talking about? Or,
They do both. I mean, I'm talking about that, and then I'm talking about, you know, especially like this time, sidewalks get cleared, and that goes on the boulevards typically. So, I mean, I'm just, I guess, the question is, for the last 12 years, you know, we've operated that way, and I was asking, you know, with the understanding, I'm requesting permission with the understanding that when it gets to be a certain height, we would remove that, I guess is what.
Has this created any problems for the city over the years, Larry?
Well, yeah, I mean, it has, because we've hauled it away before. You know, the thing is, a lot of times the snow will be pushed over to that side.
And it's always gotten taken care of too, because that's where employees park.
Yeah, on the
So
street,
we've always taken
on
care
the
of
street,
it.
yeah.
We've always taken care of it.
Yep, so even as a business, even
It's
if,
always been cleaned up to the curb.
I just don't think it's a good idea.
then I think we have to look at other things too, because I think we have to look at the ordinance then as well. I mean, I don't, maybe I should wait a little bit, but I think we need to look at the ordinance as well, because I know our neighbors, for example, have their snow right on the boulevard. And
Who's that?
right here, there's a big pile right here. And so it needs to be.
But that is where their snow goes, on the
But
boulevard
that's the
there.
boulevard.
I know, but
But
you're
that's
taking
the-
from
they
one street to
cleared-
the other, they're on Main Street,
But-
I'm just
but
saying,
But
so.
on Ninth Street, that is, I mean, it's a parking lot, or, excuse me, it's basically a driveway. It's, people come in, park, we're looking at, okay, then we have, like we talked about, we have the issue of the ice, okay?
Are you guys gonna take liability if the guy puts that snow up here and it all runs off and it's an ice skating rink? Are you gonna pay the liability?
Of course not.
But it's gonna go into this, what we're talking about is that it will go into the street. And then you come around that corner and it will become an ice skating rink coming around that corner. It has, I mean, that's the concern, we're trying to prevent that from happening before it happens.
yeah, and I'm not trying to split hairs here, Jeannie, but on the other side of the street, the snow is piled up. I mean, isn't that the same type of thing of ice coming down on K&D over here? I mean, their snow is moved around and when he opens the driveway, put on the boulevard, so that's piled high there too.
But
It's the
the
same.
water's bottlenecked, it runs down this way. His
But
can run out right
how
here
can-
and get to that curb
I
and
guess
gutter.
then the question is then how come others can put it on their boulevard and it is our property and it is our boulevard? That's, I guess now I'm really wondering.
Well, it's the city's property actually, but.
Okay, but other people are putting snow on city property.
Well, I think the difference, Jeannie, is the fact that if you look at this, this snow here is put on this boulevard. This snow here is put on this boulevard. He's not taking it all the way down here and piling a pile up here.
So then what if we take this snow, put it on the parking lot, and this snow, split it in half and put it on this boulevard, since we typically don't have to clean Main Street, I mean, we have in the past, then we don't have to. If we could make even that, what's the word I'm looking for?
Like split it from the back of the building and go around?
Yeah, basically in half, like right at the back of the building, that can get pushed in there, and then from the building forward would get put on that boulevard.
Right. And then being on City Boulevard, if the city requested that you haul it away, then,
Absolutely,
yeah, but it would be up to
Absolutely.
the city's discretion whether it should be hauled away or not.
yes, but then if it's on other city boulevards,
No, what I'm talking about is that if it's
yeah,
piled
oh,
high and
absolutely.
and when we wanna blade the street, there's no room to bring it.
Yep, and then all I would request is that other properties, it's the same situation. Because if it's, again, the ordinance was made to keep it uniform.
Uniform to the
So
whole
then,
city.
so then there shouldn't be an issue, because if it's on, whether it be down the road, either direction, I mean, it should be uniform that, and again, like I said in the beginning, we would, because again, it's our building, and so the wear and tear on it, we're obviously going to be very aware of hauling snow away.
So I really think that if you were hiring a contractor to do this and they came in and asked us to do that, we would say no. That's the way I would look at it anyway.
But we are property owners and of this building,
But
and
you're,
so,
I know, but you're also a
so I'm going to
snow
amend,
contractor.
but for the last 10 years, we haven't been. So
I
last year
get
we
that,
did it,
but the
So-
point is the ordinance has changed.
but the ordinance, okay,
Okay,
but
I think what we need to do is
I
either
guess
make
my
a motion yes
question,
or no,
my question is this.
because we kind of beat it to death.
My question is this, then, if I would amend my request, could we split the building at the end of, on the, what direction is this? Whatever direction this is, north,
Up.
yeah, up.
Up,
On the back
down.
side of the building, we'll split it, and we'll push the snow from the back side of the building to the front, put it on the boulevard, and from the back side of the building towards the mailbox or towards the alley, would go on the parking lot. And then, again, if there's a request to move the snow before we move it, we will gladly comply with the city's request.
I'd be so moved.
Okay, state your motion.
Sure. I would motion that the Weber Electric can split the difference of their snow on the boulevard. As Ginny stated, this can head up here into the parking lot. This one can go to this boulevard.
Where's the splitting point at? I didn't catch that.
Back of the
Right
building.
there,
The back of the building there.
back of the building.
So basically, it's traveling equal distance to boulevards. So it's split, going that way, going that way.
That way. I'll second the motion.
Okay. Further discussion?
I think that'd be an equitable solution because there's nothing in our ordinance on where it needs to be put specifically on a boulevard if it's boulevard snow. So it would make sense that it could either go this way or that way. It would be unreasonable to push all this and then over because that would obviously cause a little bit of a buildup. And it'd also be unreasonable to have, no, you cannot push it this way at all because this is closer to there than it is to here. So we have nothing that would give us teeth or backing to demand that of them to push it right, to not push it right there. Because there's nothing. in the
Okay, I just
ordinance
asked for
that-
clarification of the motion.
Well, it's discussion.
Yeah.
Or is it
Okay.
discussion?
Well, yeah,
Explain it.
but,
Second.
yeah.
Yeah, so that was my discussion.
Okay,
so,
I see, okay.
yeah. So if anyone else has some other discussion.
I'm gonna have her read the motion,
Yes.
please.
Keith's motion to split the boulevard from the back of the building to move that snow to the front of the boulevard,
To the Main Street
to
Boulevard.
the Main Street Boulevard, and then the other half to the parking lot.
Did you also include in the motion the fact that it's to the city's discretion when the snow gets moved?
Okay, amend my motion to add, the city will have discretion to move, or to request the removal of the snow.
Did
At
you
their
second?
discretion.
Yes, I second.
Are you going to amend your second?
I'll amend my second.
Okay, I think to be legal, I don't think, Jamie, you can vote because it involves you. I think that would be a conflict.
Right.
So, all right, any other discussion?
Sure.
You're not sure if you have discussion?
No, I'm not sure.
Okay, we'll take the vote. Tim?
I'd rather table it and more explain. I would have to go with a no.
Keith?
Yes.
Yes. I'm gonna say no. But we can bring it up again after
Right.
you
I
want to
just
look
haven't
at
had
it.
enough time to research compared to other properties and everything else. Nothing against you guys, just so that everything is square and fair.
Yeah,
And we can bring it back, hopefully it won't snow between now
Bring
and
it back to
December.
next meeting.
Between now and December, and we can have more time to think of it.
I guess the other thing, if this would open up a can of worms, if everybody else had to do this, your guys moving snow, you're gonna open up a lot of guys hauling snow and getting in the way of the city workers trying to get their job done. You're gonna open up a pretty decent can of worms and slow everybody down in the process.
Well, I'd like to revisit it in December.
Could I come
Yep.
back to the request to be on the agenda,
Yep.
to come back?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely, I wish you would, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then I'll leave these with.
I was gonna motion to table it, Keith made a motion to go that way, so.
You made a motion to table it?
I was gonna make a motion to table it until he made a motion to approve it, so. I'd like to revisit it in December.
Oh, right, yeah, right, yes, exactly.
We don't need a
We
motion
don't
to
need to
table it now.
table it,
Right.
I can
yeah,
come back.
yeah.
Yeah,
Let's just get
please
back
do.
on.
Do I need to call back in, or am I?
She'll put you on.
We'll put you on.
All right, I don't know, can you do that, Erica?
I'll leave a note for Chelsea.
All right. American Legion, come on up. What is this?
Here, I'll hold
Can
it
we
back.
call for the next one, right?
Yep.
Well,
Good evening, everybody, we're back.
Hello, welcome back.
Trouble is here.
Trouble is here.
So did you have permission to knock
Comes
that
in
building
threes.
down?
I was just gonna comment on that. Remember last time we were here, we reviewed the plans with the city commission to buy that building, demolish it and then build a park. And luckily, within a couple days, we got the basement filled in. That was our goal for this fall, to fill the basement and let that dirt settle over the winter.
Yep.
So that we got accomplished. Now, the plan going forward is to build a park. And so we had a kickoff meeting here last week. Just roughly came up with some plans we'd like to share with you here in a little bit, and get your blessings to move forward with it, because we don't wanna have all these committees meet and do all the work, and then the city's not on board with it. So with that, Darrell, do you wanna present what we're proposing, I guess?
What we're proposing on the back here is like about a 2-foot retaining wall, being alley's about 2 feet higher than the lot. And then on top of that, we'd probably put a fence. And then also coming off of that little retaining wall would be the band shelter, where it would be roughly about 2 feet off the ground. And then in this corner, some bathrooms and picnic area, and then in this corner back here, we'd do at least 3 flags back here. And then this is where the Christmas tree is now. This is where the memorial is now. And then, but this isn't, this is just kind of a rough drawing. I mean, we don't know if we would move some of this over here or where, but it's kind of an idea to start with,
Isn't the Christmas tree in front of the memorial?
Hmm?
Christmas tree's in front of the memorial. No, it's in the front of it.
Nope, it's on the side.
I don't think so.
In front of it.
It's in front of it.
It won't be when this is done. The only,
What's electrical altar for you?
You got the pole you got the memorial, and there's this little square that has the Christmas tree, and there's electrical. And
In the front of it, though.
on the side of the museum is all the electrical for the memorial.
It is.
No, it isn't.
Hey, Daryl, we'll drill a new hole over here.
I'm sure we will.
The only-
Well, it can be moved. I have a question on the bathrooms. So, and I definitely think we need bathrooms, but you realize that is like the absolute farthest spot away from the water and sewer hookups?
Yep.
Okay, as
Part-
long as you know.
Part of that is, you know, we're talking about, we probably have to put, frost-free hydrants within, you know, down by the band shelter,
Mhm.
down by the picnic area, and wherever we need. The thought of it is that so they can be cleaned very easily.
Right.
Our basic thoughts is low maintenance.
So have you thought about putting the spiffy bits in there instead of running water to the toilets and such?
No.
We really, the whole
Why did you
committee.
hit me for it? That's assault at a meeting.
When we had the whole committee, I don't know how many people were in the room.
Maybe about 13
but
or so.
it was pretty much said that, or thought that, you know, if we want to have, an area that's used by people, by families, school groups or whatever, we need some kind of bathroom in it and not a porta potty.
Really?
Yeah. But the other, you know, there's basically 4 areas we're looking at, you know, the bandstand / picnic at multiple use, so it can be used something other than, you know, more tables up there, and then the picnic shelter itself, the bathrooms and memorial. But we talked about, you know, concrete and steel, pretty much, something where you can come in and, take a hose to it and wash it down, not the.
No maintenance, in other
Yeah,
words.
we're trying to make it, you know, pretty well maintenance-free, or, you know, there's nothing maintenance-free, but you go in there, and we're also talking even the picnic shelter is, putting metal on the bottom so you can't get birds up in there and stuff like that. But, you know, even the bathrooms, you know, either whether we get them made with blocks, but basically concrete or blocks and concrete and, you know, of course,
You know, bathrooms, running water in the wintertime is really a hassle unless you.
They'll be shut down.
Until everything gets isolated and stuff. And then if you have somebody come in there in the wintertime, there's no toilets there, so why wouldn't you have a spiffy rather than running water?
Well,
Because nobody's gonna use that.
In the wintertime.
It'd be closed like it is
Nobody's
now.
gonna wanna use that park in the winter.
I would if I was down there.
It's kind of like the Riverside Park. It's open
Right.
during they open in the spring, they close down in the fall. You know, and if you go down there in the winter, well, too bad, you know, go behind.
You know, I mean, there's a lot of things we can think about. I mean, if you normally got bathrooms, you got a utility chase, and I think it'd be constructed where it's quite easy to drain. I think once you make it, we can do that. We can go through a frost, free, hydrant to supply the water to it, so there's not, but you still have to drain it. But there's ways to do that. Put hose bibs and have a place where you can put the pressure and just do it. It's not that hard if you design it for that.
Right.
I know it's not that hard, but does it make sense to have water?
Oh, yeah.
That's the only thing I'm asking.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think there was one person that thought we shouldn't have bathrooms, and we kinda looked at it, can you get without having bathrooms, and we just said, we really can't.
Well, you need bathrooms for sure,
Yeah.
but the difference between water and spiffy bits is.
Yeah, Don, I could comment on that, is, we had the same discussion with about 13 of us there.
Yeah.
And you really hammered it pretty hard, and at the end of the discussion, it was unanimous to
Okay.
present this. So-
I'm just asking,
Yeah,
you
no,
know, I'm
and
just
good.
asking
I
because
asked I asked
it's
the
an
same
added
question.
expense to the
Yep.
project by putting running water in,
Yep, I asked the same question.
or into the toilet area. It's the only thing I'm asking.
Well, I think there's gonna be water anyway, because if we're gonna have to have sprinklers, I'm sure.
And then also, if you wanna clean everything up, you can hook up to a pressure washer or water hose or
Absolutely.
whatever and hose everything down and.
Yeah, I'm not against the water or anything, just wondering about the toilet though.
And, you know, if we go to metal tables, you know, something like that. You know, the memorial itself, you know, that's, the basic concept. We know we want 3 flags. There might be something else in that, you know, some kind of display or something.
Figurines or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
we're just working, there's a committee working on that.
Find a tank yet?
I've got one.
You can get one if you want one.
I got one question, Daryl, and if you answer this, I'll lobby for your tree to be here, okay?
Okay.
All right, but I was just, were you gonna put like this fence and this way back at the tail end of the property? I'm just thinking maybe it'd be better to have a buffer zone to bring that in, because when we get back to snow removal again, if that fence is right on the property line,
Yeah,
it could get wiped out, so.
Yeah, I
So
thought
you
about
plan
that,
on moving,
but-
giving
yeah,
some
I mean,
easement
I
in,
just- Yeah, and then I also put in here a fence
right,
on this lot line,
right,
just so people didn't go up
Over into
against
White's.
Dave's
Right.
building there and,
yeah,
you know,
okay, yeah,
leave
this is
a
just
lot
a
of
rough
garbage
draft,
around his place.
okay.
Makes sense.
Our goal is to, you know, basically, this is just something to work off of.
Right.
But it's our basic 4 items that we're looking at.
I think it's a good start.
And then, you know, as things come together, we'll come back to the city commission and throughout the whole project to keep you up to date and get your approval and backing into it and any ideas that you may have also. But, this is just the first meeting for it, but it's like Amanda said, it's our kickoff.
This will allow our committees to meet all winter,
Right, yeah.
Yep.
and then hopefully, who knows, maybe start something in the spring.
We appreciate everything you guys donate to the city, thank you very much. Whether it's the memorial hall or this or anything, it's much appreciated, the improvements you guys do for us. And that looks great on the front of the memorial hall too, thank you.
Thank you.
So do I.
Yeah,
And then
look
get-
good.
That's the color.
I'm getting kind of like
grows
that
on
color
you.
myself. I like it.
Did you get your way on the sign yet? Do I need a lobby for you there too to get it around the corner?
No, I think we're gonna go at the front, I don't know.
Oh, you lost again, huh? Oh, well.
Just so the commission knows too, that the intention here is that Legion would pay up for all this. There'd be no cost to the city, and then, of course, when it's all done, we deed this to the city,
Right,
so.
sure. Because the city owns the 3 lots beside it, correct?
Right.
Okay.
There's gonna be a program to seek donations, so that'll be this winter stuff at the time. You know, but the Legion will probably be dominating.
So you're not here to collect money then, huh?
Next week.
Okay, you can put running water in.
Any questions for these guys?
Nope.
No, I think it's a good start, so, yeah. The main thing is we got the building down and, pole covered up, so that was, I mean, just right at the end too, just wow. So,
Any other questions for us?
No.
thanks
I'll
guys.
ask you tomorrow night after the meeting,
Okay.
when there aren't so many people here.
Drain repair in the shop. So these are the floor drains that are basically really falling apart.
The concrete around them,
Yeah, have you guys seen them at all, or,
they're pretty tough.
yeah, Jamie, have you seen them? You guys are building ground, right? You
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, they're bad. They can't even put the things in anymore. Somebody's gonna trip and break their damn
Right.
ankles, what's gonna happen.
Yep.
So, I think we need to go with that.
Yeah, the way Adam explained it is they would saw it out, replace the concrete, and use the same, or what do you call it, grading. Grading back in place again, correct?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't talk to them.
Yeah, I mean, unless the grading would have to be replaced, but it sounds like they're gonna use most of the grading over.
If they can, yeah.
Yeah.
So is this, they're gonna work on all of them, I guess? I don't know. Or
I thought Adam was gonna be, well, Adam's blowing snow.
they were moving snow?
Yeah. From
But it
what I
needs to be done.
What I understand is both sides, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I know the one on that side is already pulled off there, because they're
That's
trying
really
to,
bad.
trying to block it up.
And I think there's spots on this one too.
There's spots on that end of this one too.
Okay.
Is it for?
We need a motion.
Yeah, I would move to go ahead and do that.
Second. Further discussion? Tim?
Yes.
Jane?
Is there a angle there? Like, what is over there? Is it that the concrete's kind of chafing away, or what?
It's breaking out some places this far out, and it's been patched, and it's.
Oh, okay, so
The floors broke up like in between, like say this would be the grading, like this here, and the floor is breaking out on this side and this side and this side.
Gotcha.
So they're gonna go in and repair that, and then from what I understand, the grading is okay, they're gonna lay it back down again.
I think they put angle in there first
Yep.
and then put the grading in.
Yep.
Right, angle.
Okay. So we can go back and look at it if you want afterwards, they've got some of them pulled off there and blocked up.
Yeah, no, I was just, if it's that far, I guess with my night, kinda have the same thing, we're able to, do something
Yeah.
pretty bad.
Okay, so.
Okay, Jamie?
Yep.
Yes. Letter of support to carbon capture, we were asked, for a letter of support for carbon capture. Al Christensen asked if we would do this. Apparently, you know, other towns around here have, and McLean County has done a letter of support. So, I think it's not a bad idea. I think, you know, if anybody's read this, you know, it's, you know, it brings more money in, everything. I mean, who knows, maybe they'll do it, maybe they won't do it, I don't know. But I think a letter of support would be good. So I'll move that the city does a letter of support.
Second.
Discussion? Tim?
Yes.
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 Yes. Special assessments to the county. These are, Erica, do you know what these are? Are they mowing, or are they, what are they, do you know?
They're both for non-payment of, water.
Okay. Yeah, non-pay, if people don't pay, then, you know,
And
we
then
assess it to them.
one of them, we can't find his water shut off. And then the other one, the tenant moved and then never paid. Then it's up to the owner of the lot,
Property owner, okay.
and,
Which is in our ordinance.
yep. So then they would, that's why it would do that.
Okay. So we need a motion.
So move.
Second.
Discussion? Tim?
Yes.
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 We talking a lot of money on those, things in the county?
It's on continue.
One of them's $562.57, the other's $194.36. Okay. Western Dakota Energy Membership, they sent a thing, asking us to be a member. I really think that if they want us to be a member, they should come and present to us. That's what we did with coal conversion.
We know what we're being a member of.
I think it's a waste of money.
So, I will, if anybody else wants to entertain a motion to pay this, otherwise we'll just drop it. One more chance, anybody wanna make a motion to entertain it? Okay, we'll drop it. Okay, proposed pay scale for water sewer certifications. I will leave that to our water sewer people.
Sure. Or HR, it was during HR.
Okay, HR.
Yeah.
I'll let
Okay,
Keith,
yeah, that makes more sense.
I'll let Keith do that.
Yep, so basically what we're kind of thinking here is to incentivize, the city employees as they get different certification levels, so they better themselves as well as their, I have no better way to say it, but usefulness to the city, you know, as employees, and keep employee retention, that sort of thing. So a raise of 25 cents per certificate level, except for the second on water treatment. Reason being because that actually doesn't have a tangible benefit for the city. So if they really want to go that far, then they get up to level 3, and that's kind of what Adam was saying, where the desirable one would be level 3. So each one of these certificates would be a 25-cent increase, and I mean, part of the reason being is they have to do a lot of this testing, studying on their own time. It's a lot of work. It's a hard test from what I understand. So just to help incentivize that. Well, I don't know, I've never taken it, but.
I've taken
from, okay, well, from what I've gathered. But anyway, so.
Include the sewage as well?
Correct, yeah, so it's sideways on here, but water treatment, water distribution, wastewater treatment, and wastewater collection.
Okay.
So it would just help incentivize, people to get the certificate.
Before you make a motion, I would like to comment, before your motion actually.
Of course, yeah, I'm just
So,
opening it up.
go ahead, I just wanted to make sure, okay,
Oh,
if you have more
sure.
to say on that, that's fine, go ahead.
I mean, that's about it, yeah, so.
Okay, so I disagree with your thing on the water treatment too. I think that should also be included, because you can't have a 3 until you get a 2. You know, because it's one more step to the 3. I mean, I think it should be 1, 2, and 3 on that. You know, rather than just skipping and then going to 3.
Can you get
You know,
a
as
4
far
on
as-
there too then?
Yeah, but we're not a 4.
Right.
I know, but could you get a 4?
You could,
And
but that would be up to them. That does not benefit the city.
And the kind of reasoning, as we were talking to Adam, about that was like, okay, you get the 1, but if they really want to go for the 3, then they'd still get that raise, but there's no reason for a 2, because 1, you can work there, 3, you can kind of manage it, sort of thing. So it's like, if you really want that extra raise, then you push for it more. So that was kind of the reasoning, because then it's not just like every single certificate level, because why not just make it 50 cents per 3 then?
Right.
Because then if someone might just go up to 2, and it's like, well, I got 25 cents more, well, that doesn't mean anything for the city, you know, because we want to keep it balanced in that direction. So, I mean, if we're gonna go that route, I would just suggest maybe 50 cents for the level 3 then, instead of something for level 2.
Okay, well, I've said my opinion anyway. But a 1A will get nothing, because that doesn't pertain to us.
Right, you don't get it for that.
Yep.
You're saying these 2 here these don't pertain to the city either?
They do, but it's once you get up to the next level, well, so that's the max. It maxes there for us at the 1 for water distribution, but it maxes for us at 3 for water treatment. But 2 doesn't really do anything. 1, you can work there, 3, you can kind of manage it, is kind of the idea there. So, and that's what the reds are, is where we max out as a city for the skill levels.
Wouldn't getting a number 2 give incentive to them to try for a number 3 then? Wouldn't that give them more incentive? That's the way I would look at it,
Yeah.
Sure.
rather than nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, we can obviously motion it in the future however we'd like, yeah, for sure.
We were trying to balance between what's beneficial, I mean, what's rewarding to the employees, and then how does it benefit the city, so that there's a balance in there. We worked with Adam and with Chelsea on coming up with this chart, and that's what, I think, like you said, it was Adam that suggested, from, you get 1, you get your foot in the door, you get up to 3 is where the benefit to the city is. 2 really wasn't that much of a benefit to the city outside of just stepping up to 3. So I think it was actually their suggestion to drop the 2 out, if I remember right. Do you remember, Keith?
It was.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Do you have to do 2 to get to 3?
Yes?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, you do.
And just in our part, so this isn't like coming out of nowhere. I did call like 7 or 8 other little towns about our same size, and that's kind of where we got the numbers of 25 cents
Right.
per certificate.
I think 25
Yeah.
cents is fine.
Yep.
Could we put the 2 in there, or is it not?
You can do that. You can put the 2 in, or like another thing that was suggested, you know, you could leave the
Make
2
the
out,
3
and
higher?
you could make 3.50.
Yeah.
50 cents, but that's, I mean, I'm just throwing that out.
Depends on who makes the motion first.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, this is a recommendation, and
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we put the, number 2 in there at 25 cents an hour raise to, make an incentive towards getting a number 3 then.
but leave the
Or
rest.
whatever.
So, but you're saying leave the rest of these in, because this is about the whole thing, not just about number 2.
Yeah, I know,
That's what I was just gonna say, and leave the rest of the chart
Right.
the same.
right.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion. Long again, we have a motion, do we have a second? Okay, I'll second it, just so we can move on.
Yep. I was coloring the box in.
Any other discussion on this? Okay, so the motion is that water treatment be 25 cents for 1, 2, and 3, water distribution 1, water treatment 1 and 2, water collection 1.
Right.
Okay. Any other questions, discussion? Tim?
Yes.
Jamie?
Yes.
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 Yes. Thank you. Where am I?
Eric, you've been sitting here so nice and quiet and patient.
I have, I had to fight to get myself in the door.
I thought it was kinda cool that the jacket didn't happen to say engineer.
Oh, it does on this side.
Oh.
There, yeah.
I didn't wanna put you on the spot there when I.
No, that's okay. It's better.
That's why we pay him.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm, if there was any questions, I was there for them. It is better that you guys do most of the discussion in those types of things, quite honestly, but, I think you guys did a very good job answering their questions and explaining why we're doing what we're doing, so. And if there is specific questions on, as far as like, they asked some questions about the cost of the project, I would be more than willing to speak with them if they want to,
Right.
talk about it more, but.
One-on-one?
I can be available by phone call for sure, probably not in person. But, you know, the number that we came up with on that estimate was based off of a project that was bid within the last year. So like the unit prices we use for asphalt, the unit prices we use for gravel, for curb and gutter. All those prices we used, and then we did a calculation on the area, you know, based on the width of the street and the length of the street to come up with that cost estimate. So that's, you know, I know you said that it was a guesstimate, and it is a guesstimate, because you just never know what's gonna happen, especially in the environment we're in right now, you know, on how expensive the project's gonna be. And like the one gal had asked about, bids, well, we're not gonna be able to bid the project until this winter, spring, so, you know, it's the best that we can do, so. I just wanted to give you guys an update here, and I have it outlined here on the sheet. The water supply project, that's summarizing the not Blue Flint, I'm sorry.
You're hung
The
up on that.
Garrison Diversion, Road River Valley Water Supply Project, and the city's own intake project. Communication with State Water Commission staff and Garrison Diversion is ongoing between them and the city. Tim and Larry had met with the State Water Commission staff to talk about their water supply project within the last month. And then Garrison Diversion has been in communication with the city as well about their project. And then, I don't know, Larry, if Kip has...
We're hoping to set up a meeting and do some more discussion.
Okay. So that's ongoing.
Ongoing.
There was a State Water Commission meeting, since the city's last commission meeting, last month. There's been 2 State Water Commission meetings. There was the one on October 13th, and then there was just one last week, on November 10th. Tim and Larry were both on the call Larry and I were at the actual meeting in October, to give them an update and state what the city commission had voted on going towards, you know, proposing to go with their own intake and asking the State Water Commission to support them with additional funding. That was tabled. They didn't actually vote on it. The request was to have them give the city a yes or no answer, and they tabled it. And they encouraged the city to continue to look at their options and to talk with Garrison Diversion to see if they can get more clarification on that project.
Is this project still on target yet? Because I heard there were some roadblocks in other parts of this project.
For the Red River Valley Water Supply project? Yeah. So, yeah, it's still, I would say it's still on target. They had a pipeline project this year that is been behind. They didn't get as much pipeline work done than they wanted to. That part of that project would not affect the city though. The last we talked with Garrison Diversion, they were working on getting that intake project developed and done. So they're still working on that, I think, finalizing that out. What the city would be interested in is what it would take to get a pipeline from that intake up to the city. So that's...
Real quickly at that, before we get moving on, when Eric and I were at that meeting with the State Water Commission, I specifically asked, I said, we want a yes or no answer on the increased funding. We said, otherwise, so we can move on, then they tabled it.
And they tabled it, and they had a pre-commission meeting last week, Thursday, and Secretary Trasinick, I'm butchering her last name.
Just say Andrea.
Andrea is I should say, the Director of Department of Water Resources, and she gave an update that she had met with Larry and Tim on that, and essentially said that what I just told you, is that the communication has been ongoing between Garrison Diversion and the city, and the State Water Commission is very interested in the city to, and Garrison Diversion to communicate so that they can determine if that is a possibility or not. They're much, it seems that that's what they're encouraging, more so, than the intake project. But they did say that they would, you know, support that 65%. That's not what the city asked for, but that's what the city was approved for, so far. So, that's where we're at. we're gonna continue to communicate. The next, full commission meeting is gonna be in December, and I expect that to come up again. Looking forward into the future, on our time horizon, the FEMA grant is set to run out essentially in March. That was our extension we had, was through March of 2023. So that's another thing to keep in mind. That's the FEMA grant that the city has for their intake project. So that's just, again, just something we wanna keep in the back of our minds, so that we're not getting to that date and all of a sudden, oh my gosh, it's expired. So, now, we can apply again to have it extended, but that's just,
But you said we probably wouldn't get an extension.
right now, it's hard to say. I mean, we've gotten 2 extensions, but, from what I've heard from the Department of Emergency Services, is who we go through for the state to get to FEMA, and we work through that department to get the grant in the first place. It didn't sound like it was looking very good as far as getting another extension, but that doesn't mean that we can't, okay? I just wanna set the expectations a little bit there. So, the other thing I have on there is that there was a Lake Agassiz Water Authority meeting that both Tim and Larry called into with myself, and we just listened in. So LAWA, the Lake Agassiz Water Authority, is one of the boards that oversees the Red River Valley Water Supply Project. And they met in Fargo is where their meeting was. We dialed into it virtually, but they discussed, the Red River Valley Water Supply Project and, their finances, as business meeting. They talked about some updates, and they talked about, the 3 main ones that they updated. I want to call everyone's attention to was the first was Rainbow Group. They talked about that being a potential new, user, or that would take water from the River Valley Water Supply Project. And that would involve a pipeline from the intake that we've discussed all the way up to where Great River Energy is, Rainbow Group is, up at the power plant.
Coal Creek Station.
Okay, Coal Creek Station, thank you. Yep, and where Blue Flint is. So that's something they talked about. I don't have any details on that as far as timeline, how big a pipeline, how close it is to the city.
Is that part of that Blue Flint thing that we got turned down on?
Well, it's a water supply that would be, that Rainbow Group would want, and from what I can understand, it would be for their carbon capture, goals.
Right.
They would use it for their carbon capture, because that's a very high, demand for water to do that carbon capture. So, that is something, again, that I don't wanna throw things out there and have you guys, get super overly excited about it. That's something that they discussed at that meeting. They also discussed the city as being a potential user, and they discussed, I think, the city of, Moorhead. So those are kind of some of the takeaways.
Yep.
They talked about how they had met, how the Garrison Diversion guys talked about how they had met with the city, a few times as well, updating the LAWA, board. So, that was all done. That was on, the end of October when we had that meeting.
They want us really bad.
They would really would like to get the city, to be on board with the River Valley Water Supply Project.
Should give us free water for about 2 years or something.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people that are very interested in the city, being on board with it. There definitely is would be some big benefits for all parties involved. The city would it would be a good option. I think the city would have some room to discuss and negotiate with them on signing up. So I would encourage that continued discussion, which the city commission has done. I would continue to encourage that discussion with them. And hopefully we can have a meeting before the next state water commission meeting would be great, so that they can give an update to them.
I hope so, yeah. We'll keep you informed.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, the only other update on that is the tech memo. I have not seen a final, water supply comparison tech memo. So I know that's something that the city was waiting on, so.
Do you know when the next state water commission meeting is?
What, I'm looking at the calendar right there. Usually it's the second Thursday, which would put it at the 8th. I don't know it for sure.
Probably the 8th or the 15th, probably, huh?
The 8th or the 15th, I would guess, yes. That's usually that second or third Thursday. The first Thursday being the 1st, it could be end up being the 15th.
Right.
The state has to approve this? is why you go through the state meeting and such?
As far as going to the State Water Commission meeting?
Yeah.
The state would have to approve any increase to the city's grant that they currently have for their
Okay.
intake. So, it's kinda, there's a lot of parties involved, and the city's interested in getting a new water supply project. Garrison Diversion's interested in the city connecting to the Red River Valley project. The State Water Commission is very interested in the city working with Garrison Diversion, so there's a lot of players involved, and, you know, we're just trying to
A
come
lot
up
of
with.
moving parts, in other words.
Yep, so we're just trying to stay on top of that and, make sure that the city has their options open and they get to select what they think's best for them, so that's what we're working on there. Is there any questions on that water supply project? Okay. Update on the street projects. Obviously, we had the, protest tonight, it was well attended. There were no written protests, as you guys covered. As far as work so far, we did a site visit back in the beginning of November before we got the snow. We got the survey 90+% completed before the snow, which was, I'm really glad that we were able to do that. We got some curb marked for removals, and we got the information we need to start the design work, which is what we have been doing. So we're getting plans together there. I would look at setting up a design review meeting with the city in the near future, in the next 30 days, I would say, to get feedback from the city on that, on where we're at. So we're gonna continue to crank away on the design process for those plans.
No matter how you look at it, the cost is gonna be high, though.
Yes, and it's really, you know, it's hard to look at when you say it's $20,000 per lot. You know, we're gonna do the best we can to get really good bids. That's part of getting the design work done, so we can go advertise for bids and hopefully get it ahead of these contractors to get a lot of them bidding on it, so we can get some good prices, and that's all we can do. And hopefully we get some good bids and the city is comfortable with going forward with something, rather than throwing them all out. Because there has been some outrageous bids in this environment in the last 1 to 2 years, with what's all going on with inflation and supply shortages. The, you know, supply chains busted up pretty bad. So, you know, in world events, there's just a lot of things that are going on that we can't really control, but like Larry had said, prices only continue to climb. So that's the unfortunate part of it.
Yeah.
But, is there any questions on the street project so far? If there is any questions that you guys want to refer people to me, I will take those questions. But like I had said earlier, it's best if the city can answer the citizens when they ask the questions, so I think you guys did a really good job doing that.
I hope so.
Drainage improvements project, we submitted an SRF questionnaire to get on the SRF intended use plan for the drainage project. That's a project we've been looking at for a couple of years. That's up in Heritage Heights. There's a field to the north that drains a large amount of water that has caused issues on Custer Drive and Rough Rider Road for a long time. So we submitted a questionnaire so that if the city would elect to do any design work or construction work in the next year, that we have that on the intended use plan for the state, so that the city could apply for a loan if they so choose. Like I have said before with these SRF questionnaires, that doesn't obligate the city to anything, but if you don't do it, then you're not gonna have the option to apply for that loan.
And those are payback loans, as per se?
Yeah, so SRF, there's a way to get grants through the state revolving fund, but, we would be doing a clean water, state revolving fund loan, and that doesn't usually come with, grants, but that's not to say that we couldn't. Tim, you answered that question really good about grants. I think there's a gentleman that asked about that, the street project. You usually can look at getting grants for like utilities when you have water and sewer involved, but because the street project is all streets,
You don't get it.
that's where it's tough. I would say, one thing I probably could have added to the discussion was, you know, we're looking at using the Bank of North Dakota funding for the street project, so that would be a better interest rate than what I know a lot of people are concerned about. Interest rates are rising, they are.
Yep.
And we can still look at bonding I'm jumping back to the street project on you guys,
Yep.
but we can look at bonding too, but that Bank of North Dakota, infrastructure, loan is a good funding source, so that's what I would encourage the city to look at, and I know that Abby's already looking at that for you guys, so.
Okay.
Now, you talked about, Larry brought up about, prairie dog funding.
Yep.
Now, would that prairie dog funding work for this drainage problem?
Absolutely. Well, it worked for the street project
But
too.
now, the street project, there isn't enough money to do both of them out of that, correct?
Well, yeah, because the prairie dog funding is only like
No,
$120,000, so, you know, with the street project, you're looking at a $3 million project.
Yeah, I
Now,
know.
the drainage project, we're looking at about half to $600,000, I think is what the estimate was, for that one. But, you know, every little bit helps, so if you're gonna be able to use that prairie dog funding to buy down that loan, like Larry had said, the prairie dog funding, sales and use tax, you know, the city's looking at all their means necessary to be able to make those assessments less.
But you're still gonna have this drainage, that's gonna be another bill then, correct?
Well, yeah, that'd be a different project, that's on
Yeah.
the north side of town.
So you're actually looking at possibly 3 different projects next year,
Well,
which is gonna be expensive.
that, potentially, if the city would wanna do those, but right now, we're only committed to doing one project.
Right.
So, with that drainage project, it's a very possibility we would do that in combination with the street project up there.
Okay,
You know,
that's what I was asking.
So, that's all I had for updates for you guys, unless you had any questions for me.
Questions?
Thanks, Eric.
Yeah, Eric, thank you very much.
You did
Very
an
good.
excellent job, again.
As usual.
Just trying to keep all the information straight for you guys. There's a lot that happens.
There's a lot out there.
Commissioner Doctor.
Yeah, first of all, the Legion approached the city about, which is already done, about paying for taking the wood off both sides of the Memorial Hall where the doors are. So Jamie and I got together, I think it was like $7,500 that they donated for the stucco job in front, and then also agreed to pay for the electrical, which is, isn't done yet. So once again, we thank them tonight for what they did there. I also visited with Dean on the Memorial Hall. We're gonna try and get some training for both the city employees, and the Legion wants to be involved in the sound system, so that when someone rents the thing, there's some training, there's a list there of how to do things, Another thing I asked Dean is the fact of, to have some definitive lines, because there was some question, okay, does the Legion own the sound system, does the city own the sound system, all that? So he got back to me and he said that everything that the Legion, has donated to the Memorial Hall as far as improvements is all city property, that type of thing. And then also, just asked him that if they are gonna do some more additions and type of things, just to work with the city, because sometimes you receive a donation that really isn't to your benefit. It can come back to haunt you. I noticed that when we were on the school board, there were things we turned down because we knew in the long run they really weren't to our benefit and they were gonna cost us a bunch of money, so, or not a bunch of money, but money. So anyway, that's kind of it on, I've been kind of trying to fill in for Jamie and helping while they're finishing up with their, fall work. And then, you guys gave me permission to go to the park board, with the proposed, land trade. So I went in there and I had the 2 properties back here that are park board property, and about a third to a half of the softball field, which is city property, and they're about 44,000 square feet, within 1,600 square feet of each other. The city had made the offer to them to make the trade at no cost to them. We would pay for the expenses of plotting it and surveying it and that type of thing. They listened to the offer. I told them I don't have any room for negotiations. Not that we couldn't, but I don't have the authority to negotiate. I just have the authority to make the offer, and they understood that. So they listened, but no action was taken on their part.
But I think mainly it will.
Oh, okay.
We
Well, I'm just gonna give
have so
them,
many things that,
Right,
it'll
yeah,
be,
yeah.
it'll be the discussion for the next meeting, I know.
Okay,
Because
I'm-
we've talked about it.
okay, thanks, Judy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just
I was
giving,
It was just that there was so much packed
Yeah.
into that night.
Yeah.
Will it get approved then, or don't you know?
Do I what?
Do you think it would be approved, the
Oh, I
swap it?
don't, I can't say.
Yeah.
you
I
know.
guess I'm just giving my report, because they
Yep,
sent me
that's
to,
good.
because they
Yeah.
sent me to you guys.
And I just thought I'd tell you.
Okay, well, thanks, Judy. So anyway, there was no action on the offer. A couple of comments that were made, I believe Mark asked me if the city would be willing just to donate that property to him and they'd pay the expenses, and then he made the comment, but I know you really can't make that offer, which I agreed. They also had said that someone had inquired, I believe, to Mark about purchasing the property back here, to which I informed him that they couldn't do that because it has to go to public auction. You can't sell to private individuals. They also asked about trading it. I said, I don't think you can do that either. You can't trade to private individuals. It's public property, has to go to public auction. So anyway, we cleared that up. Also visited with them about joint powers agreement. I tried to get a hold of Stephanie today at the League of Cities. She was out because if the trade doesn't go and it remains part park board property, part city property, and the school uses it, I'm pretty sure that it has to have a joint powers agreement between the three entities, which is a pretty simple agreement. But Stephanie was out today, Judy, so I wasn't able to get the exact, answer on that, but she had mentioned it to me before, so.
And Paul explained that to us.
Right, and I'm pretty, like I said, I'm about 99% sure that if we're gonna stay there, we need to have the joint powers
Yep.
agreement.
Yep.
So anyway, that's kind of, in a nutshell, my presentation to them, and they listened and asked some questions, and, I guess they're taking it under consideration, so.
Yeah.
So that's all I've got, in mind, and then I think Gary kind of summed up what we've been doing water-wise, yep, so.
Any questions for Tim?
We try to keep our meetings down because one gal teaches the Awanas and
Oh,
we have
yeah.
confirmation.
Yep.
We keep-
Yep, and that's fine. But you got the information you needed,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
Yep. Well, and then also, we're gonna press forward now with Jamie and I, meeting with Mark and Brock to just define lines as what's each other's responsibility and where do we share type of thing. Move forward from the past, right, Judy?
Definitely need to move forward, absolutely.
Yeah, that's one thing, is that there's, one reason or another, there's been a lot of animosity in the past, and Judy brought up the fact that we really need to move past that, do what's best for the city of Washburn, so.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I got.
Jamie?
Yeah, I think he summed it up, so.
Okay.
Nice after the water certificate, which I did, so.
So Don?
No, nothing.
I think, Tim and Eric pretty much did anything I had, so,
Wait, there's one way I
we're not there yet.
Oh, okay.
We haven't called it. Erica,
Nothing.
you have nothing. Okay. Short and sweet, what do you need?
I was,
Come.
well, okay,
I better unzip my book again.
the firemen are gonna take our truck, because that's the only thing we can do with it, is they're going to demolish it.
What now?
The truck, the park board truck is going to be demolished.
Oh.
And so I'm
How
here
could
to
you?
talk about the truck that might happen. Do you think we're gonna get a truck from the city?
I'm thinking I think it depends on how this lands,
No, just kidding. That's what I had said before, that would probably be our goal, I think that, ties in with moving forward. We need
Yeah.
to work together.
Right.
Yeah.
and if we can make it easier on you,
Yeah.
I think that,
If I can just interject, I know,
yes.
I think they're looking at a February date on this pickup that we're getting.
Okay,
Right.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they didn't give us what year, February?
Oh,
No,
yeah,
I'm
I
just
know
saying,
that.
but I mean, we don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is that
But
sort
I-
of what you have to wait till you get a truck to replace it? Is-
Yeah.
Right,
okay.
yeah,
All right.
so if that would, we'd hate to make a commitment to you now and then supply chain, whatever, the one that we've ordered doesn't show.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
and that, yeah.
But if I think it was a February date, which should give us plenty of latitude by the time you guys
Right.
need a truck in the spring.
Well, I just wanted to
You know what
talk
I'm
to
saying?
whoever's driving it, and I want them to be very careful.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm teasing.
That one they check the railroad tracks with every day they run back and forth, that's the one you're getting, so.
Yeah, and I have one other thing. The scene, they are they had to move out of the newspaper office. And so, the Senior Citizen Center has offered them that space because it's virtually used 3 times, yeah, probably about 8 times, but seriously used for 2 seniors functions in the Lions Club meeting.
Okay.
And so I talked to Erica today about it. It was suggested, but Dean actually said, well, maybe we could use the downstairs at the Memorial Building. But I'm just saying if and if.
Are you talking for the senior center now, or are you talking for who?
No, I'm talking if the seniors have rented to the newspaper, if that's gonna be the newspaper office
Okay.
temporarily, then could the seniors use the downstairs for their senior meal? And the next week they have a birthday party. We're talking, 2 afternoons.
What dates are these?
It's the second Friday and the third Friday.
Wouldn't they just schedule that through the city office?
Well, but we have to ask permission to use it.
So what you want is.
At no cost. You
at
want-
no cost.
Yeah.
You just want the fees
Well,
waived.
you know what,
I'm
because,
just saying.
you know what, I already have to go and talk to the seniors about the fact that it's the right thing to do
Yeah.
to, well,
No,
because the rent is, with the rental, we're probably not gonna get very much, but I just feel like don't we want our newspaper? And it's just the right thing to do.
I think you're kind of pushing, you think we're gonna say no. Well, I'm not gonna say no.
You're not gonna say no?
No.
Oh, good.
I'm not.
Oh, good, 'cause I have to go Friday and,
Okay, I'm not gonna say, I don't know about the rest of these people,
Okay.
but.
well, and it's just maybe we're gonna need it, but I have to be able to say to them that I've made this.
So what are you saying then? You're saying senior meals are gonna be you want it downstairs in the
In the
Memorial
hall.
Building?
Yeah, and it's a potluck, so there really isn't any cooking. It's a potluck.
So everybody brings their own stuff?
So you're
Yeah.
just asking for these 2 dates?
So 2 days.
No,
Right.
but you know what, we don't know how long the newspaper's gonna be in the senior citizen center until they get their building cleared up and, the supply chain thing, I mean, they say 30, 60 days, but you don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess my concern is, other rentals. You might have to work around them.
Oh, and you know what, we know that. That's, I get
Because a
that.
paying rental, kind of
Yeah,
has.
kind of supersedes.
It kind of does, depending on what it is,
Yeah.
and depending on what it is.
Yeah,
but,
but you know what, the chances of through the winter on a Friday afternoon are not
Right.
real
I
huge.
get it.
So
And like
would
I
this be
said-
in the afternoon then, or would this
Yeah,
be
they
in the
come
evening?
at 11:30,
Okay.
and they're through it by 5, but they have cards, And I just think it's a great chance to, and, because of the stairs, we've got an elevator.
Right.
There's no reason why we couldn't use that.
Do you have the 2 dates exactly?
I do, it's always the second Friday and the third Friday.
You've got those here, yeah, okay.
Okay.
So I'll make the motion that
And
we,
then the Lions need a place to meet.
just wait, we gotta do one thing first.
One thing.
One thing first.
Okay.
So I would make the motion to let the seniors use it for their functions, at no cost, but of course you will need to pay deposits and be responsible for everything else, for those
And
days.
that's providing there isn't someone has already rented it?
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
providing,
there's a pay cut,
rental
yeah.
agreements, yeah.
And you said that would be on Tuesdays as well?
No, just on
Okay.
on Friday.
I'll second
Second
That,
Friday
because you
and-
said Tuesday in the beginning.
No.
All right, Tim seconded. Any further discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
I'll just say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay,
Okay, now the Lions need it one night a month, and that is the first Monday.
they want the downstairs dining room, or what do they want?
Yeah, they want the dining room.
Do they have a meal?
Pardon?
They do a meal?
Yep,
Is that potluck also?
it's usually brought in,
Yeah.
yeah.
I make a motion, we let the Lions do it on Monday nights.
Just, the senior center, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah,
call it
yeah.
the senior center.
Yeah.
Okay, you have a motion?
Second.
Discussion, Tim?
Yes.
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 That was easy.
Great.
That was easy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Clayton, you want anything?
Other than, maybe putting the priority a little bit higher on.
Like I said, you just gotta call them.
I got your number.
Okay.
Just to update that, I checked and the State Water
That was
Commission
really
meeting is
bad.
on the ninth.
Pardon me?
The ninth?
That was really bad.
Okay, great.
Second Thursday.
So I hope Chelsea's watching.
Rhonda, anything real quickly?
It wasn't bad, I just didn't take it.
Say no.
Only that the city has been invited to the Washburn Light Social tomorrow night.
All right. So, thank you.
Free food.
We have a motion to pay bills?
I
So
motion
moved.
to approve those, or second it. I forgot one thing.
Tim and Keith.
Okay, hold it, we're doing bills right now.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Any discussion on the bills?
Just wait. Tim and Keith.
I second it, pay bills.
But Keith seconded it.
Okay, second, third, fourth, whatever.
Discussion on
Yes.
bills, Tim?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. What? Quickly.
Somebody brought up the idea, senior brought up the idea about, that building over there needs some repair done to it. And, they were wondering if we could get the, 1% sales tax to do that.
They would need to bring a proposal.
Yeah.
That,
Get on the agenda, bring a proposal, I can't.
okay, that's all I was just asking.
I'll take that back.
All right. So, is
Thanks,
that it?
Judy.
Yes, meeting the 12th, meeting adjourned, thank you everyone.
You gonna bring that up to the seniors about that?
Yep, I sure will.
Please, appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll keep in contact on that pickup.
You know, I'm kinda looking for some grants for them too, because
Mm-hmm.
do that.
I like the throw monkey wrench.
Yeah, I was actually gonna ask you, can my kids come?